A forensic expert examined the Tucson bones discovery. What they revealed could be the biggest break yet in the Nancy Guthrie mystery. Mother, daughter, sister, Nonie, we miss you with every breath. Those words belong to Savannah Guthrie, NBC anchor, household name, and right now a granddaughter begging strangers for help. Her grandmother Nancy has been missing for 4 months. The family has offered over $1 million in reward money. The FBI is involved. And still, nothing. But then, on May 7th, something changed. A local YouTuber named AJ Wysopal was searching the Tucson desert. He wasn't a detective. He had no badge, no warrant, no jurisdiction. He had a camera and a gut feeling. And 5 miles from Nancy Guthrie's home, he found human bones. If you're following this case, subscribe and hit the bell right now. We're covering every break as it happens. Think about what that means. An active kidnapping investigation, $1 million reward, federal agents working the case, and a YouTuber found what none of them did. Tucson police confirmed it fast. The bones were human. Then they ruled them unrelated just as fast. But here's what nobody told you. When a forensic expert actually examined that site, what they uncovered didn't close the door on this case. It blew it wide open. Stay with us. Because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what those bones revealed and why the Guthrie family's nightmare may be far from over. We're also going to show you the one detail in the forensic report that investigators haven't explained publicly, and it raises a question nobody's asking. Let's start from the beginning. 4 months of silence. $1 million unclaimed. And now, bones in the desert. To understand why that discovery matters, you need to understand how this case fell apart from day one. The evidence Nancy Guthrie is 84 years old. Her family calls her Nonie. She is someone's mother, someone's sister, someone's anchor. She is not a headline. She is a person, and she has been missing since before winter ended. The disappearance triggered an immediate response. Tucson Police Department opened the investigation. The FBI joined shortly after. A tip line went live. The reward grew. And still, the trail went cold faster than anyone expected. Here's what investigators confirmed publicly. Nancy was last seen at her Tucson area residence. The first 72 hours produced no arrest, no confirmed sighting, no forensic breakthrough. For a case this high profile, that silence was deafening. The FBI's involvement tells you something critical. Local agencies don't call in federal resources for simple missing persons cases. When the FBI activates a tip line and attaches a 7-figure reward, they believe a human being made a deliberate choice. Someone planned this, someone executed it, and someone is still protecting the secret. Savannah Guthrie said it plainly on Mother's Day. Someone knows something that can make the difference. That is not a grieving family member grasping at hope. That is a prosecutorial statement wrapped in grief. The geography matters too. Nancy's home sits in the Tucson metro area. The search radius expanded over weeks. Investigators covered ground, followed leads, worked the tip line. And then AJ Wysopal walked into the desert near Craycroft and River and found something in 5 miles of open terrain that 4 months of professional searching had not surfaced. That alone should stop you cold. Because if trained investigators missed human remains in an active search zone, it raises a question nobody in this case has answered publicly. What else did they miss? A YouTuber found what federal agents didn't, but it's what the forensic expert said next that nobody is talking about. And that's where this case gets complicated. The key question when AJ Wysopal reported his find, Tucson police moved quickly. They confirmed the remains were human. They brought in the University of Arizona's anthropology department. They looped in the Pima County Office of the Medical Examiner. And then forensic anthropologist James T. Watson stepped onto that site and changed the entire conversation. Here's what the official investigation initially reported. 1 bone, discovered near Craycroft and River, confirmed human. But Watson's examination revealed something far more significant. It wasn't 1 bone. It was an entire skeleton. Watson identified ceramic artifacts buried alongside the remains. In forensic anthropology, pottery sherds are a dating mechanism. They tell you when a person lived and how they were buried. Based on those artifacts, Watson estimated the individual predated written language in the region, potentially 1,000 years old. But here is the detail that should make you stop. Watson stated publicly, whether it is 1,000 years old or 50 years old, these are human remains. Why does a forensic anthropologist qualify a prehistoric burial with a 50-year window? Here are 5 reasons that statement matters. Field assessments have limits. A preliminary ruling is not a final ruling. The medical examiner's jurisdiction doesn't typically cover prehistoric remains. Their involvement signals procedural caution. Ceramic dating provides a range, not a fixed date. That range can span decades. A full anthropological investigation takes weeks. The unrelated ruling came within days. Watson's own language leaves the door open. He did not say definitively prehistoric. Every one of those points is a gap. And in a missing persons case, gaps are where answers hide. The official position is that these remains have nothing to do with Nancy Guthrie. But the forensic record shows a preliminary ruling made fast on a site that produced an entire human skeleton 5 miles from an active search zone. Do you think the bones are connected to Nancy's case, or is this a thousand-year-old coincidence? Tell me in the comments. The forensic trail raises more questions than it closes, but the human trail, the one that runs through Tucson right now, that's where this case takes its darkest turn. Suspect Truth, let's talk about the reward. $1 million, anonymous tip line, federal protection for the caller. The Guthrie family has made it as easy as possible to come forward. And still, nobody has claimed it. That silence is not random. That silence is a choice. In cases where a reward exceeds 6 figures and tips remain absent, investigators draw a specific conclusion. The people who know something know they're exposed. Anonymity protects the caller from the public. It does not protect them from their own involvement. And if coming forward means becoming a suspect, most witnesses stay quiet. That is what the FBI's tip line architecture tells you about this case. This isn't a situation where nobody saw anything. This is a situation where someone saw everything and calculated the risk of speaking. Now consider the geography again. 5 miles separates Nancy's home from the bone discovery site. That is a searchable radius. That is a drivable distance. That is not wilderness. It is accessible terrain in a metro area. Someone moved through that space. Someone knows what they saw. Savannah Guthrie didn't say, "Please help us." She said, "We will never be at peace until we find you." And then someone knows something that can make the difference. That is not a plea. That is a challenge directed at a specific person. Subscribe right now, because when this case breaks, and it will break, you need to be here for it. The bones weren't the answer, but they confirmed something critical. This case has layers. And the top layer, the public story, is not where the truth lives. Why do you think nobody has claimed the $1 million reward? That answer tells you everything about this case. Every case either breaks or it doesn't. Right now, this one balances on a single edge, someone's silence. Here's what that means for Nancy Guthrie. The unresolved close go back to Savannah's words one more time. Mother, daughter, sister, Nonie, we miss you with every breath. We will never stop looking for you. You know the full case now. You know what the forensic expert found. You know what the reward structure tells investigators. You know what the silence means. And those words hit differently now. The bones are classified prehistoric. The reward is unclaimed. The FBI tip line is active. The investigation remains open. Nothing about this case is resolved, and the forensic discovery didn't change that. It only sharpened it. Here is the one question this entire case comes down to. Someone in Tucson is carrying a secret heavy enough to outweigh $1 million. What is that secret protecting? Nancy Guthrie is not a case number. She is Nonie. She is someone's mother, and she is still out there. If you know anything at all, call 1-800-CALL-FBI. You can be completely anonymous. The reward is still available. If you knew something about this case, would you make that call? Be honest in the comments, subscribe, and share this video. Someone watching right now might know exactly where Nonie Guthrie is.